Welcome to News Today, a PodNu service. Today is Sunday, March 27th, Central European Time. Los Angeles Times. Josh Rottenberg and Anousheh Sakui report that millions of people will watch the 94th Academy Awards on Sunday night. Some, the Film Academy hopes, will watch the show for the first time or return to the Academy after domestic viewership for Hollywood's biggest night fell to a record low of 10.5 million last year. Tom Fleischman, who won a sound mixing Oscar in 2012 for Martin Scorsese's Hugo, and was nominated for 4 other awards, will be one of them. He will be watching from his home in Nyack, New York. If you're angry about the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences' recent decision to move 8 awards below the line, and for short films to a separate live ceremony, you might not watch again. The only reason I'm going to watch it is to see if anyone else is going to speak truth to power, said Fleischman, who resigned from the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences in December, frustrated over the direction the organization has taken after more than 30 years as a member. Winning an Oscar is the pinnacle of one's career, and they've demeaned it. It's unconscionable. The theme of this year's Oscars is Movie Lovers Unite, a rallying cry for film fans at a moment when the medium is facing a deep existential crisis accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic. But inside the Academy, as the group tries to get back on its feet after last year's widely panned, pandemic-dampened telecast, that sense of unity has been broken apart by weeks of bitter infighting over the very meaning and future of the awards. For an Academy already dealing with difficult issues of inclusion and the costs of a new, expensive museum, the firestorm over this year's show has made things even worse and opened up new wounds, making it even more difficult for them to work together. It's only a tiny matter in the vast scale of world events at the moment, said one current nominee, who declined to speak on the record due to the sensitivity of the situation. But it has been a painful period for the Academy. ABC, the show's broadcast partner, asked the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences last month to make the show shorter and more exciting. The Academy said that the Oscars for film editing, makeup and hairstyling, original score, production design, and sound, as well as the 3 short film categories, will be given out off-air in the hour before the show starts. On social media, people will find out who the winners are, and clips of their acceptance speeches will be shown on TV. As soon as the changes were announced, a lot of people were very angry. Jane Campion, Steven Spielberg, Denis Villeneuve, and Guillermo del Toro were just some of the people who were very angry. In an open letter, 70 prominent film professionals, including James Cameron, John Williams, and former Academy Governor Kathleen Kennedy, blasted the plan, saying it would do irreparable damage to the Oscars' reputation by treating some of film's most vital craftspeople as second-class citizens. Like many of his colleagues in the industry, Alan Heim, the Oscar-winning editor of All That Jazz, and president of the Motion Picture Editors Guild, found out about the changes to the show in the press. "It's a terrible slight to all of us who make a movie," Heim said. "To get nominated for an Academy Award is a tremendous honor, and this cheapens the honor by making one category less than the other." 3 years ago, Heim's Guild and other groups successfully fought a plan to give out 4 awards during commercial breaks in that year's telecast, which forced the Academy to change its mind just a few days before the show. Academy leaders say that because Oscar ratings have dropped by about 75% since 2014, they can no longer avoid making difficult changes. "We must prioritize the television audience to increase viewer engagement and keep the show vital, kinetic, and relevant," Academy President David Rubin wrote in his letter announcing the plan, which was endorsed by the organization's officers and awards committee. This has been an important focus of discussion for quite some time. First-time Oscars producer Will Packer, who has worked on hits like The Girls Trip and Ride Along, says the decision was right. At a time when people have a lot of choices for entertainment, he thinks the telecast needs to draw in more people who aren't big movie fans in order to stay alive. This is because very few people have seen many of this year's nominated films. You have to be very honest about where we are, Packer said. The awards are absolutely what you anchor your show. But that doesn't mean that's the only thing you use to bring people under the tent. What can I add? What are the elements that would make broad swaths of the public tune in? What would they give a damn about? That's how I'm looking at it. For the first time since 2018, the hosts will be back for this year's show. This is to make the show more appealing to a wider audience. Regina Hall, Amy Schumer, and Wanda Sykes will be the first all-female trio to host the awards show. In a new twist, Twitter users can vote on who they think is the best person in the world. During the TV show, it will be announced that this is not an official Oscar, but it will be. We Don't Talk About Bruno, from the movie Encanto, will be performed live, even though Disney, which owns ABC, didn't send the original song to the Oscars. DJ Khaled, snowboarder Shaun White, surfer Kelly Slater, and skateboarding legend Tony Hawk will be some of the presenters, even though they're not movie stars. Many of the new ideas have been met with skepticism by Academy members and movie fans, who think they're cheap and won't move the ratings needle. As Hawk Riley noted on Twitter, if being in every A Jackass movie, XXX, Police Academy 4, and Sharknado 5 doesn't qualify me to present at the Oscars, then your taste in movies needs readjusting. Meanwhile, the Academy has insisted that all of this year's nominees will be treated with equal respect and has encouraged as many Oscar attendees as possible to be in the Dolby Theater for that first non-televised hour, which will be emceed by Josh Brolin and Jason Momoa, who co-starred in the heavily favored Crafts contender Dune, and are arguably best known for their roles as Thanos and Aquaman, respectively, in the Marvel and DC cinematic universes. But because the red carpet pre-show airs at that time, many stars and nominees feel awkward at a time when an industry obsessed with its image is having an identity crisis in front of the world. I don't really understand who they think the show is for, said one longtime awards consultant, who declined to be named because they are working with several nominees this year. I get that the show has to evolve and they're hoping to expand the audience. But I don't know why they thought the only options were to do it exactly as they did it before or to take those 8 awards off camera. Industry insiders have met for pre-Oscar parties and events, and the controversy has been the main topic of conversation, even though it hasn't been over yet. Set decorator Rena D'Angelo, who worked on the production design for West Side Story, was at a party for female nominees on Friday. She said that she felt like her work was being overlooked. The Academy is the embodiment of filmmakers, and cutting our time, to make room for banter and dance routines. It really hurt, D'Angelo said, noting that Spielberg, who directed the film, was planning to be seated in the theater in solidarity when her category was given out. I was like, oh, you're trimming the fat and we're the fat. They're trying to find an audience that doesn't exist, and I think they need to go back to the drawing board and start over. It has been hard to come up with a common vision for the Oscars. In a statement earlier this month, Academy Governor Laura Cartman, one of 3 representatives of the music branch, said she was shocked that the officers of the Academy denied the Board of Governors the opportunity to vote on the changes to the show, saying they caused a wound in the heart of the music community. Rubin was speaking at the Governor's Awards on Friday, an event that used to be part of the Oscars show. He said that compared to other, more contentious issues, picking Samuel L. Jackson and Elaine May as honorees was easy for the group's 54-person Board of Governors. If only all our board meetings were that brief and that harmonious, he said to knowing laughs from the crowd. It's not clear how the controversy will affect the TV show. The president of the Cinema Audio Society says that some of this year's winners may turn their trophies upside down on stage, as a form of silent protest. During this time, other people might use it to speak out even more clearly. Outrage isn't just a matter of hurt pride, Urban said. The Oscars' change from decades of tradition has real economic consequences for the craftspeople who work on them. It infers inequities of value, and this inference makes it difficult for us to advocate for ourselves in contract negotiations, Urban said. This year's The Tragedy of Macbeth had sound mixer Peter Kurland on board. He told the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences last week that he, too, will be leaving the group unless there is a solution to the problem. Other members of the Academy, which has about 10,000 members, are said to be privately thinking about doing the same. I don't know that this is the most effective way for me to object to the Academy's decision, said Kurland, who joined the Academy in 2009. But I did not feel comfortable remaining in the Academy, knowing that the people in my branch and other branches were going to be treated disrespectfully. Packer, who is on the front lines of a fight for the soul of the Oscars, says he can understand why people feel so strongly. When all is said and done, he hopes that everyone will work together to keep the Oscars going. They are a big marketing tool for the whole movie industry, and they also show people what great movies are like. We may disagree, smart people do all the time, and that's okay, Packer said. But some people, even some within the industry, they just want the thing to burn. They're like, blow it all up. Well, I'm not one of those people. Especially this year,